Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And in today's video, we'll discuss a new potential assistant coach target for the Red Raiders and also look at the current roster outlook after the commitment of Deshaun Jackson. How many scholarships remaining do the Red Raiders have, and what I think they should do with them in terms of position scarcity on the roster. But before we get started, I know I've asked about a couple of Lubbock questions in terms of, hey, where would you take your friend for the first time if they're going to Lubbock, Texas, right? Well, I want to hear from you guys in terms of what is your favorite local Lubbock business? Let me know. It could be any kind. It could be a restaurant, retail, whatever it may be. Maybe even one that your mom and dad own, you own, whatever it may be. Let me know down in the comments below. All right. Let's talk about this newest coach linked to the Red Raiders in terms of an assistant coach. And it's interesting, but before we talk about him, be sure to hit the like button. And also, I know somebody is going to comment about Ben McCollum. My thoughts on Ben McCollum will remain the same until he is no longer in the conversation for this job or he gets the job. It's this. He will be involved in this discussion until he is or isn't on the Texas Tech staff. It's that simple. Now, Ben McCollum has also been recently linked to the new opening at West Virginia alongside Andy Kennedy and a few others. If he gets that job, obviously he ain't coming to Tech, right? But when it comes down to it, he will be in this for a while and he will continue to be in it for a while, right? Like he is that kind of guy due to his relationship with Grant McCasland. When it's all said and done, Ben McCollum will either be the head coach at Northwestern State, Missouri State, I should say, or he will be at Texas Tech, maybe West Virginia, whatever it may be, but he will be connected to this Texas Tech job until it's either filled or he says otherwise. It's that simple. All right, let's jump into the newest name on the Texas Tech men's basketball assistant coach front. And it's an interesting one. And I'll be totally transparent before we get into it. I had not heard of this guy before. Simple and plain. But his name is Dave Smart, 57-year-old coach from Canada. He is one of the winningest coaches of all time in North American basketball history. He has a 922 winning percentage. Yes, you heard that right. He's 591 and 48 all time at Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada. Okay. He's a 13-time champion in their respective division of basketball. And I was told by multiple people that he had actually been to the 806 recently. What does that look like? I'm not sure, but he has reportedly been in the 806 talking to Grant McCasland, right? Listen, again, I will fully admit it. I did not know who this guy was. I had to do some research on him. And basically, these are kind of the bullet points that I came back with after looking at some of the limited film I could find and just some of the resources out there discussing Dave Smart. Okay. He runs a force weak defense. What does that mean? He likes to force, well, the offensive player to his weak side. Okay. So if he's right handed, likes to go right, you force him left, vice versa for left handed guys, right? That's his whole premise, especially against the pick and roll. He likes to force. And really what it comes down to is that was the biggest thing. He's got a website. You can go check him out if you want to. But looking at him, that was the biggest thing he's known for. And obviously he's done a sensational job up there at Carleton University in Ottawa in terms of running it, right? He's a big culture guy. That's another aspect that I learned from. And he's got testimonials from guys that are high level coaches in terms of the college game and the NBA, including Mick Cronin. You got Jay Wright, former Villanova coach, Mick Cronin, obviously at UCLA, a couple of other NBA coaches, as well as an NBA scouting director, right? Like this is a guy that's well respected. But truthfully, I had not heard of him until I caught wind that he was in Lubbock. Okay. So this is really what it comes down to for me. It's an out of the box type potential hire. I wouldn't say it's out of left field by any stretch of the imagination, but it's thinking differently, right? If you're Texas Tech, it would be an interesting move to see how the coaching staff goes because a good friend of the show, Tobias Bass of The Athletic, actually talked to him last night over on a Twitter Spaces on my Twitter. You can follow me. My handle is right there over on Twitter. He said that he would not be surprised if Texas Tech only has 4 coaches on staff And maybe Smart could be one of them. But he does not expect it to be like last year, where it seemed like Texas Tech had 9 coaches on staff. That is not something that he thinks could happen, or at least he thinks right now it doesn't look likely, is the way he said that. But Smart would be an interesting move. He is a name linked to Texas Tech men's basketball as a potential assistant coach. And now, well, I've got to ask you, would you want Texas Tech to hire Dave Smart as an assistant coach? Just a Y for yes or N for no. It's that simple. And if you haven't already, like the video. If you like these daily videos about Texas Tech men's basketball, the latest news, rumors, recruiting, whatever it may be, when it comes to the Red Raiders on the hardwood, we've got you covered right here. Just let me know that you're paying attention to it by simply liking the video. Okay, after the commitment of Deshaun Jackson, let's jump into the roster outlook right now. The Red Raiders currently have 1 scholarship remaining. They have 12 total. The roster looks as this by last name: Isaacs, Lindsey, Jennings, Walton, both Williams, both Washingtons, McMillan, Ylahu, Steffi, and Jackson, leaving 1 scholarship remaining. Now, a couple of people have asked me on Twitter, RC, what are your thoughts on what they should do with this last scholarship? Personally, I think they're going to wait. I think they're going to wait and see which grad transfers enter the portal here late. Remember, grad transfers can move anywhere they want, and you're in the summer months. Some of these guys are going to graduate in the summer. Perfect example. John Rothstein just tweeted about him earlier before I started recording this. A former Texas Tech Red Raider, Namari Burnett. He's transferring from Alabama to Michigan. Reason he can do that after he's already transferred once is because he's a grad transfer and he's graduating in the summer. There will be multiple guys like that in the portal that happen to be there that maybe you didn't expect to be there because they graduated, right? So I think Texas Tech is going to wait back, see which kind of guys funnel into the portal after graduation and everything like that. But it wouldn't be shocking at all if some sort of situation like that took the last scholarship. I don't think there's going to be a high school route that they go. And really, I don't think there's a true impact guy that's on Texas Tech's radar, or let me rephrase that. Texas Tech is on their radar right now in the portal. So I think Texas Tech is going to wait back a little bit, see who comes into the portal, and then they'll attack and try and go after a couple of guys and hopefully land one of them for that last scholarship, right? But I want to ask you guys this before we head out of here. What position do you want to see Texas Tech use that last scholarship on? Me personally, I think it's got to be a wing, okay? I don't think you have a ton of impact at the wing position. And what I mean by that is, the 3 spot, a guy that's in that 6'5", 6'7" range that can play the guard spot, can also move up to the forward, can guard 1 through 5. I don't know how many of those guys are going to be in the portal after the grad transfer stuff happens here, right? But I think that that's what you need to target. You need to target a guy that's a bucket getter and hopefully is a wing in that 6'5", 6'7" range, because right now you're asking a lot from these transfers, from these guys that haven't either played at the Power 6 level or really are going to have that level of minute jump at the Power 6 level. Thinking about Lindsey, and then for the minute jump, because obviously he played in the Power 6 at Georgia a few times. But then you've got Darion Williams, who's making that jump from Nevada and the Mountain West to the Big 12, arguably the best or the second best basketball conference in America. So you got to think about stuff like that. I would love to see another one of those guys in that 6'5", 6'7" range. Hopefully a guy that can get a bucket, take some pressure off a Pop. But hey, you're going to have to see what you can potentially get in the portal when those grad transfers do inevitably hit it here in the next week or two. All right. I am RC Maxfield, reminding you, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay in the know on Texas Tech men's basketball all year long. And answer this question for me one more time before we get out of here. Would you want Texas Tech to hire Dave Smart as an assistant coach? Just a Y for yes or N for no. I'm RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast, and all of the latest Texas Tech men's basketball breaking news can be found right here. So you better hit that subscribe button.